Hello, welcome to another Verbling class. Tonight's class is Conversation. A recent documentary, Cowspiracy, postulates that agriculture causes more pollution than cars and industry. It's complete opposite of what I thought. Is it true? I don't know. But what we're going to have tonight is a discussion about this. Starting shortly once students arrive in the class. Stay tuned. Ella,
Hello, Simon.
hello again.
I'm only half a class because it's very late, but the subject, the topic is good for me.
Yeah, I got this idea last night. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I honestly, I don't know if it's true or not, but like I said, the information I've got tonight is from a documentary, and that's what we're going to have as a discussion because that's what these classes are about. They're about discussing complex and controversial issues.
Yes, I work in an agricultural school.
Oh, perfect. So you can help me with this then. I would love that if you can give me some of your thoughts on this. So that'd be perfect. Awesome. That's actually, I'm excited about that. That's terrific, Adela. I hope you can stay the whole class. Ahmed, hello.
Hello, nice to see you again.
It's good to see you. Well, I want to get started, even though we may get some other students arriving. What I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to give each of you, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I want you to tell me what you think are the greatest sources of pollution on our planet. Now, when I say pollution, these are things that harm our environment, right? They damage it. Pollution is a negative thing. It's not positive. It's always harmful to the air, the water, our land, okay? So actually, let's make it 2 minutes. So Ahmed, why don't you start us off, please?
Okay, I think the main source of pollution on our planet is the human.
Why?
Because he is the main source
But through what
of
activities? 'Cause I agree with you, it's probably man, right? But through what activities?
yeah, because people trying to make a development on this planet, so we build a lot of factories
Okay.
that could pollute the air. We are
Industry.
building, yeah. For example, yeah, I think the main pollution is industry because there is a lot of we can pollute air with industry. We can pollute water with industry. For example, oil spill or dispose all factories disposes on the sea. So this could affect the environment and living species in this place. Also, I think pollution. Other main source for pollution is nothing coming in my head
Okay, that's
except
fine.
industry because you know all the pollution we have on our planet because of technology.
Okay,
So
so let me stop you then, because that's good to just have one item. That's good. Industry. Yeah, I would think industry is a cause of pollution. That's not surprising to me. Shan, what do you think is the biggest cause of pollution on our planet?
I think lots of the things is 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 I think the agriculture pollution is one of the major, and the industrial we can't deny it would be the top on the list.
Sorry, which one?
Industrial
Okay.
revolution has the major cause for the pollution. But
Okay.
let's talk about the agricultural pollution we have.
Okay. So agriculture.
I can refer one state from the India. It's called Punjab.
Yeah.
In 17th, they did a green revolution there,
Mm-hmm.
and every year they tried to exceed their production level.
Okay.
So they were highly dependent on the pesticides.
Pesticides. Okay.
Pesticides. So what happened? After 20 years, they reached a saturation point. They can't increase their productivity, but as a side effect, they got highest populated cancer patient in their state.
Okay. So that's probably to do with. I don't think it would have anything to do with nitrogen. That could affect the ocean. So it's probably to do with some chemicals that are reaching the environment, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time they just they sprayed pesticide through helicopter,
Okay.
and they wanted to just crop uh, 3 times a year, 5 times a year. So they just pushed themselves. Economically, definitely they got rich, uh, but what happened? Ultimately, it just moved around and it just affected on their lives. So
Okay.
now they're realized and now they're moving to the organic way of farming.
Okay. So you agree industry, but you've added agriculture.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next, we're going to go to Adela. Adela, you have 2 minutes as well. What do you think are the greatest sources of pollution on our planet?
Maybe I think the natural um, process can be two pollutants
What natural
increase.
process?
Yes, volcans, for example.
Volcanoes?
Yes, volcanoes
Okay.
are a source of pollution,
They
and
are.
after that, animal raising, because they produce do the compound are considered as pollutants. After I agree with classmate about agriculture, because they use pesticide, they use
Fertilizers.
fertilizers, and that increase the problems in waters, for example.
So the runoff water then. So
Yes, they after that they uh, go to the lagoons, etc.
okay.
Fish die, and sometimes the fertilizers increase the materia, organic materia,
Hmm.
and they have a problem about eutrophication. I don't know in English, but it's a problem
Okay.
to
So
the life.
I would also say that, you talked about animals, but the waste as well, right? Because you've got so many animals, you've got so much waste, right? It's not just the fertilizer, it's the waste that they produce, right? So you got a lot of waste in the environment.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Next we go to Carlos. Carlos, what do you think is the greatest source of pollutants on the planet? We've talked about animals, industry, agriculture, volcanoes. What else?
Excuse me, source of what?
Pollution.
Pollution. Oh, maybe us?
Well, no, we know it's us, but through what activities?
Hmm. Let's see. Well, maybe industries. Yeah, I
We've
agree
got
with that.
industry, so good, yeah. Anything
Yeah.
else?
Well, not for now.
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
okay. Yeah, yeah. All right.
Right. Asma, anything you care to add? There's one item that nobody's brought up that I'm surprised, because we're told this is so bad.
Mhm. Well, I think using too much all the natural resource can lead to the pollution. Um, Means in industry, in agriculture, in everything that we can use too much. Also, waste of food, waste of uh, means less recycling. I think using a lot of water. Um, how can I say it? Also, the feeding animals this chemical, not chemical, but I don't know how can I say it. This what we use to the land to grow the plants also can lead to the pollution.
Okay. So some other good points. Water, right? So we pollute the water. We've got a lot of good points here. Now I'm going to add one that shame on you guys for not thinking of this. Cars. Cars. CO2 coming out from cars, polluting CO2 into the atmosphere. We've been told for a long time this is bad, right? Would you guys like to watch a short video?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to cue it up. Now, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to paste the link, and make sure you're on mute if you're watching via the link. And I'm going to use the YouTube app here. And hopefully that works. So add to the playlist. I'll give it the link. And I'll start it. It requires Flash, and I'm not going to install Flash. So what I would like each one of you to do is to take the link that I just gave you, and I want you to watch the video. Now I'm going to watch it here so I can see how long it takes. It's about 2 minutes, and when you're done, type in group chat that you're done. So I'm going to start it now.
Do you think there should be any concern of us making this documentary?
Of course. If you don't realize right now that you're putting your neck on the chopping block, you know, you better take that camera and throw it away.
It's an environmental disaster that's being ignored by the very people who should be championing. Let's look at the fundamental problem here.
No one wants to talk about it because they're membership organizations. You know, a lot of them. They're looking to maximize the number of people making contributions.
Leading cause of environmental degradation is.
We need to address that as well. It's not up to the Department of Water Resources.
It's hard to actually target like one thing.
I don't necessarily know what it is.
There's suppression and mismanagement of information everywhere it abounds.
It starts at the local level, but then it goes all the way to Congress.
When you consider the devastation it's having on our planet as well as the oceans.
We're in the middle of the largest mass extinction of species in 65 million years.
They can dictate the federal policies because they have so much political power.
They're one of the largest industries on the planet with the biggest environmental impact, trying to keep us in the dark about how it's operating. That's the one thing no one talks about. Everybody goes around that.
Unfortunately, we are no longer able to fund your film project
we have a meeting and due to the growing controversial subject matter, we have to consider well.
You're going up against people that have massive legal resources, and you have nothing.
A lot of people just keep their mouths shut because they don't want to. They don't want to be the next one with the bullet to their head.
I don't know that I would want to comment on that.
Okay, so it's finished playing on my screen. Has it finished playing for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So, obviously it's a trailer, so it's dramatic. Not a lot of substance there, but what do you think that one item is that this film has identified as being the greatest source of pollution? Anybody? Well, one of you got it right.
Industry, they said that.
No. Animal agriculture. Now, if what they're saying is true, that's a huge difference between what animals produce in terms of greenhouse gas emissions versus transportation. Okay, now, what I'm going to do is before I show you more information, I want to get your response to this, guys. Just this one slide alone, because in the movie they're saying animal agriculture releases more greenhouse gas emissions than all forms of transportation. That doesn't include all industry, it involves all forms of transportation. So, Shan, I'm going to give you as much as 2 minutes. Do you believe this, or do you think it's a load of horse hockey?
I'm not too sure about that. It's a very pretty new information for me, but I never give it a thought like this way. But we have to accept that we are in a time where populations is in the top. Like we cannot blame to the population. So we have to be very sensitive, and we have to analyze that what are the part we can improve, and we can just work on that.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, wow, we're filling up. We got students here who haven't even watched the video. Omar.
Yes.
So you haven't seen the video yet, but based on this one slide, do you believe this? Do you believe that animal agriculture releases almost 5 times more greenhouse gas emissions than all forms of transportation?
Well, I don't think so. I think transportation make a huge source of pollutions. Okay, because you know, even the thing that's coming from the animal can be used for agriculture.
Yeah.
So maybe our use as a human, you know, the food of the meat or whatever, when we throw it, yeah, it will become as a pollution, of course. But I think the cars, the factories, making more pollution than the animal sources.
Okay. So when we think of cars and pollution, what's harmful about cars? That they what do they pollute with?
I think carbon monoxide more dangerous than carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide is already it comes from you know from ambient, so it's a bit normal. It's not too harm like carbon monoxide.
Okay, so carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Now, carbon monoxide is very hazardous to human health. If you could die from a very small amount of carbon monoxide, whereas carbon dioxide, you can take a lot more of that, right?
Yeah, because the body is making that carbon dioxide. So and also the trees and the grass, they're making carbon dioxide. So it's not, I don't think that it's too harmful. Maybe it's if it is increased, yes, but the carbon monoxide have more harmful effect.
All right.
This is what
so yeah, more harmful effect to humans, but the carbon dioxide leads to global warming, right? So, a very good point. Thank you, Omar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next
Welcome.
we have Jar. Hello, Jar.
Hello.
So, Jar, do you agree with this slide?
Yes, I agree. Maybe I didn't see the video, but I think there is scientific proof that animal and agriculture can emit more gas than all transportation, for sure.
Really? Now, honestly, when I saw this, I thought, you got to be kidding me. Why do
Yes,
you believe it?
but I think it is true, you know.
Why?
Because there are much more animals around the world than cars, maybe, and you know, the new cars, I think they have some protection against dioxide and monoxide carbon.
You're right. Against monoxide, yes, but not dioxide.
Yes. I agree. I didn't see this video, but I had heard and read in the past that the big cause it would be because the animal and agriculture for sure, and like cows and cattle, they produce more. They usually emission. They produce more gas emission than other.
Here's a challenge for those of you that aren't speaking right now, especially those that you have already spoken. I don't know what the figures are, but I want you to search the web, and I want to find out how much waste a human produces per day and how much waste a cow produces a day. We're talking about fecal matter and urine, that kind of stuff, right? We're not talking about cardboard, paper, that kind of waste. We're talking about natural waste, so fecal matter and urine. So I'd love to know that. Sorry, continue. Oh, I guess your time's up. But I like what you had to say. It adds to the conversation. By the way, once somebody has found that information, let me know. Where's the chat screen? Do I have the chat screen? There we go. So I can see the chat screen. Once somebody's found that information, let me know. Okay. Oh, Carlos.
I have to say that for me, all those things are like something new for me. I know about the pollution in the world. I know about all the cars and the transportation system and all those things. But for me, this information is absolutely new, and it's also amazing, you know. And if you have, if the people who is saying this, who is giving us this information, if they have proof of this, real proof of this, this is something big, you know. It's big. It's really big because we are talking about 51%.
Okay, well, let me interrupt
huge.
you because I want you guys to know where I'm getting this information from. So this slide is actually, I think it's a screenshot, but it's taken from the documentary Cowspiracy. So autocorrect has spelt it wrong for me. Cowspiracy. If you have Netflix, it's on Netflix right now. So this screenshot is taken from that documentary. Sorry, go ahead, Carlos.
Sure, no problem. And I just I have also a like a question, or like something I want to know. What is it? What is this? This gas emission? What it come from? You know, what is it actually? It is. Is it produced by animals or by the industry, or what is it? Because I don't know.
No, it's a very good point. Thank you for your comments. Asma.
Well, teacher, for me, it's difficult to believe or to be convinced that animal agriculture can cause greenhouse gas emissions because
Silly, doesn't it?
what?
Sounds silly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, because if we want to study, also we have to include or to take care of countries that agriculture is not the main activity in this country. So then, and we can't find pollution. So I don't know. For me, it needs to be proved, and sometimes I can think that some industry means who work for the industry can be happy, because it means that they don't have to be questioned about pollution, because now animal agriculture is the cause of greenhouse gas emissions. I don't know. For me, it's
No, and I haven't given you guys really enough information yet, but your response is similar to mine. I thought, and I've heard someone say this before, and I thought, you got to be kidding me. Are you telling me cow farts produce more greenhouse gases than all forms of transportation? It just didn't seem right. So that was my first initial reaction, and I've got more information for you guys later. Thank you, Asma. Amp.
Hi, teacher.
Hello.
Well, I disagree with this information. Probably it's just biased by the industries, because
as we learned in our last class, everybody's biased to some degree, right?
Yes, but the earth was created, the animals exist, also the vegetation, and even before fire. But when the gas emissions and the greenhouse effects have been increasing, it have been after the industrialization, and that they are the biggest responsibles in the contamination around the world.
So I think what you're talking about is what we call factory farming.
Yeah, probably you said that the agriculture, but it's not the agriculture, it's the fertilizers that you use for the agriculture, or because you are cutting you are not rainforested. So I think that it's not the agriculture in what's the tool that we are using to it's supposed to improve the agriculture and the fertilizers, all the inorganic things, a lot of substance that the people add to improve the appearance of the vegetables, for example. And the fertilizers that they use when it's raining, all this is going to the soil and going to the water, and then it's when the pollution becomes bigger and bigger.
Well, Amp, you're talking about many things. So if I was a debate, you're off topic. We're talking about greenhouse gas emissions. Now, I think we all realize that. Now, Jar said, and I don't know where Jar got this, so Jar, I'd like you to type where you got that from, but he says there are over 60 billion animals on the planet. There's only 8 billion humans. Now, if these are mostly larger animals like cows, then obviously they produce a lot more waste. And they're confined in areas where you're going to have a lot of waste concentrated. That could be a problem. Thank you very much, Amp, for your thoughts. Ahmed, your thoughts on this slide. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think I agree with this picture because I think this 51% is the natural one. Our planet needs this percent because these greenhouse gases make our planet warm. Without these gases.
Hold on. Global warming is not a positive thing, it's a negative thing. So increasing it more is not a good thing. Yes, we need to maintain a certain level of warmth, but scientific consensus states that greenhouse warming or the global climate is warming, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, but what I mean is this 51% is the natural one, is the one that made with our planet. So the problem is only in this 13%.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying, yeah, but it's natural. Animals are natural, right?
Yeah. So
Well,
we need
hold
this
on.
percent to keep our planet warm. Without this, our
It's
planet
not
will
natural.
go chilled.
Having 60 billion animals is not natural. Having 45,000 heads of cattle in a few acres in short stalls, producing a lot of waste, consuming a lot of food and water, is not normal. Hundreds of years ago, you would have a lot more land required for that. So open grazing is natural. Having factory farms, that is not natural. So I agree that animals are natural, but 60 billion of them? Before we started factory farming, there was no such thing as 60 billion animals. But thank you very much for that point.
Thank you.
All right. Adela, your thoughts. You happen to be in this space in agriculture, so I'm curious to know what you think. Your interpretation of this slide, do you believe it?
I agree with the data about agriculture and farming in general, because it's the most produce. Methane is a greenhouse gases because it transforms in CO2, and it's not. I disagree with AMP because animals are on the earth, yes, but not in the number in the production, intensive production. Human race need to eat, and nowadays we can do cultivate 3 times per year. We have three harvests for year. That is an intensive production about animals and about agriculture. I think that is the problem. This pressure over the environment.
Okay, thank you. Now, guys, I've thrown up a slide here. We hear about CO2 and how it's bad for us because it adds to the greenhouse effect. It adds to global warming. It's also well known that methane is far worse. In fact, according to this slide, well, 72 times, no, that seems a little too high. 72 times more than CO2. I need a fact check on this, guys. Which, I know methane is far more congruent to global warming than CO2, but can somebody get me the number? I don't think it's quite as high as 72. But what I'll say is methane contributes to global warming a lot more than CO2, and the scary fact is as the globe heats up, methane is released from the oceans because it warms up. It's released from the Arctic, from Canada and Russia, because it's no longer trapped in permafrost, and that contributes to global warming a lot more. So when we think of that initial slide, okay, let's look at what gas emissions come from animals. And you know what? They produce a lot more methane than they do CO2. So that could explain why animals contribute to global warming more than cars, because cars don't produce methane, they produce CO2. So let me close this slide. So Shan, are you saying that it's about 8 times, methane is 8 times more dangerous than CO2?
No, if we just consider the statistic of greenhouse gas emission, the CO2 level is 82%. Methane only consume the 10% slot.
Okay, well, what I'm looking for here, I put up a slide and I don't believe it's correct, so I'm trying to find out how more dangerous to or accretive to global warming methane is than CO2. I know it's more accretive to global warming, I just don't know how much. And accretive means to grow. Okay? So here's another slide. So earlier, I'm going to put my headset back on because I'm going to start talking a little more quietly. I like to stand and pace and walk around when I talk. Okay, so if you look at the bottom of the screen here, so it also says, look at the top first, 51% it comes from animals, 13% from transportation, global greenhouse gases. Now let's take a look at the waste, which is immediately below that. The waste from a farm, look at this, 2,500 dairy cows. 2,500, according to this slide, produces as much waste as from 411,000 people. Now that's kind of scary because we like beef, don't we? There's a lot of cows. If this is true, then yeah, we have a big waste problem. And from that waste comes methane, right? So that would kind of make sense. Again, we're making the assumption that this is all true. Now, part of what I'm doing in class here is I want to get you guys to think. I won't speak for you. And part of what you can do in this class is you can use Wiki, you can use Google to help validate this. So I'm going to give each of you another 2 minutes, and I want you to talk to this slide. If you can, what I want you to do is state facts that you found that agree with this or that disagree with it. I also want you guys to tell me something too. This is my last class for tonight, but if this is an interesting enough conversation, I'm willing to start another class after this. But I'll ask you guys that in about 20 minutes. Okay, Shan, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so Shan, the topic of conversation here is this slide. We've got some more information, okay? Some startling information, and I will tell you this. This information from this slide was also presented in the documentary Cowspiracy that I told you about. And AMP has just put up some information, so feel free to comment on that too, okay, Shan?
Yeah, sure. I was just searching some statistic about the population. Human population currently is 7 billion, whereas the cattle population is 1.4 billion only. But we have to consider that this is the human who just trying to have more cattle for their interest. So we can start a new debate, like whether we can move from the vegetarian foods, from having the non-veg or the beef or something that will reduce this greenhouse effect. That's a different conversation we can start. But one thing I just want to add here, like the natural animals, this world is not the only home for humans. Human is just part of the nature. The normal animals, those they are in the in forest there, we have to just take care of themselves, and this is the home for themselves also. And if we are facing some problem because of the populations, we can blame to ourselves also.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just start a debate on that? Why human is growing so heavily? No. We have to think out some substitute way out how we can just come out some solutions. And yeah, my point is.
Thank you very much for that point. All right, next, Omar, your thoughts on this slide.
Slide, yeah, it's true, but then we can just move to vegetable food, more towards that. Then we can just have less cattle.
Can you pass one before me?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Can you pass someone before me?
It's your turn, Omar. Why do you want me to skip your turn?
Just 1 minute. That's okay.
Sorry, I don't understand. Why do you want me to skip your turn, Omar?
No, just I want to listen to other guys first.
Okay, fair enough. So, Jar.
Hi.
Hi, Jar. What do you think of this?
About this information?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think they are true. I think the world now is more conscious about the environment, and I don't like when I see waste around the world, because there are many people that are dying because they don't have food. And if we just reduce our waste around the world, we could feed maybe 1 billion people that are starving today. And water use is the same way. We don't think how much water it is necessary to produce an hamburger, for instance, and it is a lot, And I think in the future we will be more conscious, and the industry as well, and will produce products that use less water. For instance, we know that cattle, for instance, you need more land, you need more feed, and you need much more. They emit much more gas, and they are more expensive as well than other meats. So yes, I think it is true. We have many things that we can do to improve this situation, and maybe in the future, because there will be 90 billion people in 2050, and we need to do something better and use our resource better as well, because we need maybe 50% more food, and we can increase our production, and we have land like 20%, so we need to become more productive for sure.
Thank you very much. All right. Carlos, what do you think about the information on this slide? So far, everybody believes it's accurate, it's close to being accurate. Do you?
Maybe, yeah. I think it's something is possible. As I can see here, we have different opinions and different source of information. But anyway, it's something that I haven't seen before. Is a little shocked. For example, when you see one hamburger is equal to 660 gallons water just to produce one hamburger, is something amazing, It's something that you have to think about it. And more than this, if this is a real information, the question in my mind is, what should we do to solve this problem? If it really has if it really has a solution, it's maybe something to think. Yeah.
Well, in the movie, the guy was suggested we should all become vegans, which means you don't eat any animal, not even eggs, no meat, no eggs. I'll be honest with you, after I watched it, I certainly thought of cutting back on meat. My biggest concern with meat has always been the antibiotics and the hormones in it, and so we generally eat organic meat. But I can certainly tell you, while I have no interest in becoming vegan, I certainly thought about cutting back because it made me think.
Well, that's a problem, because if you're giving that, if they are giving that advice for everybody, I can say it's impossible. Something is possible.
Well, it won't happen. But see, here's the problem. Right now, there's far more demand for meat than there is availability. So if a lot of people decided to cut back on their meat, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. The industry wouldn't go away. But China and India are huge in population. As they become wealthier, their demand for meat will increase too. Yet we've only got so much land on the planet. All right. Thank you, Carlos. Asma, I know you've been having connection problems, but can you share with us your thoughts on this slide that was in the movie?
Well, I don't know. My question maybe is why we call animal agriculture, why we don't call animal industry.
Maybe we can direct that question to Adela because she works in that field. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know, I feel like they want to hide that to connect this problem with agriculture, but in fact it's industry, you know. So
I got to admit that factory farming reflects an industry far more than it looks like a farm.
yeah, I agree with you, but is it, I don't think that it's for pleasure. It's for business when farming is or when there is an intensive farming. So I think that it's for business. It's commercial, and when we give this information, we'll be more worried about who consume. Because if you consider that this is the number of or how much can lead to a pollution, also you can double this amount or this number, because people will consume the meat and will consume. So it's a vicious circle, and it's really very, very dangerous if it is really proved and based on real evidence.
Well, here's something. I've got a new slide here, and the only purpose of this slide is, and I wouldn't count these figures as being exactly accurate. That's not the purpose of this, and I don't think it's possible to know 100% what the exact figures are. But it gives you an idea of the ratio. The same amount of land will yield about 400 pounds of meat, or 40,000 pounds of vegetables. Now, that gives you an idea of how much land is required to produce meat. So for everybody to have as much meat as they want, there's not enough land on the planet. It's a fact. Everybody knows this, and Adela can probably speak to this. There is not enough land on the planet for everybody to have the meat they want. Right now, not everybody can afford it, but there's not enough land. So if everybody was vegan, well, certainly there would be far less land usage. There would be probably far less pollution. You wouldn't have the same amount of waste, or the same type of waste. We'd have other problems for sure, but we can see just the amount of land is required for meat. Okay? All right, Amp, it's your turn.
Well, I think that as you say, the numbers are not accurate, and probably this kind of information just want to alarm people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it could have the pros and cons in you change the meals that you eat. That is, it's like impossible to live without animals, because the animals you need for it's part of the cycle of the. Everyone have a part in a change of food. So if we disappear of the animals, and yeah, we are going to eat just vegetables, who is going to eliminate the plates? So we are going to have another problem. We have to use chemicals for that, and we are in a circle that we are not going to end. For me, I think the proteins that provide the animals, like the meat from the cow, is you cannot not change for another thing. Even when you said that probably it have almost the same protein, no, it's not true. So I think that it is an exaggeration, and I think that there are more things that could produce bigger damage in our world instead of the cows or the chicken, or well, you know, how if you stop raising the cow, for example, where are you going to get the leather?
Well, I disagree, actually. If what this documentary is saying is true, well, global warming is a very, very big problem. Right now, even the United States, get this, the United States has come around to say, yes, global warming is a problem and we need to do something. China has said this. Global warming is not like other problems we have. You just can't decide one day, okay, we're going to stop doing something and the planet's going to be fine. It doesn't work that way. The Earth is a large planet. It's got a diameter of, I don't know how many tens of thousands of kilometers. It's huge. We can't just fix problems so easily. So if these numbers are true and correct, then it is a very, very big problem, especially with almost 8 billion people on the planet. You add some droughts, you add some fires, you create water shortages. Now you got the potential for wars and famine and disease. It could be a big problem. But I want to stop there. So this class is over in 9 minutes. There are no classes after this. Would you guys want to continue this conversation for another hour?
Yes.
I need more than one person. If you would be willing to sign up for the next class, let me know. Go ahead and type in the group chat that yes, I'd like to have another class. And if there's enough of you, then I'll go ahead and set it up. So I got 1, 2, only 2 of you are interested. That's probably not enough for me to want to, because if I don't get enough people coming in, then it counts against me. So, and I'm not forcing you guys. I'm just trying to find out because I know it takes a while sometimes to type. Well, I'll make my decision in a few minutes. Within about 5 minutes, I have to choose. Otherwise, the opportunity will be gone. It won't let me do it. What I would suggest, guys, is get a hold of this documentary. I don't know if Netflix is available in your country, but Netflix is showing the documentary right now. It's one of those movies that's available. But it is very, very interesting. It is very, very interesting. What kind of shook me most about the video is that there are players that kind of want to hide this information. And that to me is more shocking than anything else. Is well, why? You know, obviously there's a concern for our jobs. We all want to maintain employment, right? We all want to have enough jobs in our country. So I get that, but you know, there's a lot of power. Like in the United States, and who knows, maybe I'll hear about this, but in the United States, if you talk negatively about certain industries, you can be charged, which is interesting. And now, of course, in this class, I've never said that the meat industry is guilty of anything or said anything. I've just enabled a discussion about pollution and greenhouse gases. Let's see. What are the countries who, well, obviously, yeah, it's going to be the larger ones because there's more people and they consume more resources. Yeah. But even some of these countries are starting to realize there's a problem. But animal waste, when you've got that many animals, it's a big problem. Okay, so only 3 of you are interested in joining me. I understand others have to go. Let me just take a look and see. Look at the schedule. Take a look here. Okay, so I've gone ahead and taken a chance. I have launched another class. So in 5 minutes, we'll continue this conversation. Since there are no other classes available, I'm sure I'll get some spillover effects, other students coming in. But I need to go because I need to get some water because my throat's going to be sore. I've had 2 classes already. So, guys, thank you so much for showing up tonight and having a discussion. For those of you who are going to join me in the next class, spend the 5 minutes, go to Google, search for facts and figures. I want to have a lot more lively of a debate here. I want to know more facts and figures. I don't want to just talk to images that may or may not be correct. I want you guys to do some hard research, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys, see you in a few.
See you.
Yep. See you.
Nice.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.